Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me again for a prayerful pause. Today is the third and final post of our three-post series, reading sections from a letter from the Birmingham jail by Dr. King. And today we're looking at the role of the church during these times of unrest. And yes, I did record this earlier. I'm wearing the same clothes. I'm actually recording this on June 3rd, 2020. And who knows what may have happened in national events since between then and now when you are watching it. But as an observer of our culture, I do believe that there is a lot for us in what Dr. King wrote, even though it was written 57 years ago or something like that. August of 1963, 57 years. It's prescient, prophetic. Let's hear what he has to say, and I'll let you draw your own conclusions about its applicability today. Shall we? He says, "There was a time when the church was very powerful, in the time when the early Christians rejoiced at being deemed worthy to suffer for what they believed. In those days, the church was not merely a thermometer that recorded the ideas and principles of popular opinion. It was a thermostat that transformed the mores of society. Whenever the early Christians entered a town, the people in power became disturbed and immediately sought to convict the Christians for being disturbers of the peace and outside agitators. But the Christians pressed on, in the conviction that they were a colony of heaven." Isn't that a great phrase? "Called to obey God rather than man. Small in number, they were big in commitment. They were too God-intoxicated to be astronomically intimidated. By their effort and example, they brought an end to such ancient evils as infanticide and gladiatorial contests. Things are different now. So often the contemporary church is a weak, ineffectual voice with an uncertain sound. So often it is an arch defender of the status quo. Far from being disturbed by the presence of the church, the power structure of the average community is consoled by the church's silent, and often even vocal, sanction of things as they are. But the judgment of God is upon the church as never before. If today's church does not recapture the sacrificial spirit of the early church, it will lose its authenticity, forfeit the loyalty of millions, and be dismissed as an irrelevant social club with no meaning for the 20th century. Every day I meet young people whose disappointment with the church has turned into outright disgust." I just want to pause there for a minute and say, boy, did he ever call that one right? And I look around at people, many of you watching, want nothing to do with the church. I'm spiritual but not religious. I think we can change things. Everything that you see that South Church is doing is done in the name of the church. And we're not perfect, and we fall short of the glory of God every single day. But we strive to not take our privilege and our position for granted in order to support the status quo. There are other churches like us too. So if you're not affiliated with one, or with a synagogue or a temple that puts that at the forefront of what they do, or a mosque that is out there changing the world, find one. Find one that speaks to you, because we're out there. But I digress. He continues, "But even if the church does not come to the aid of justice, I have no despair about the future. I have no fear about the outcome of our struggle in Birmingham, even if our motives are at present misunderstood. We will reach the goal of freedom in Birmingham and all over the nation, because the goal of America is freedom. Abused and scorned though we may be, our destiny is tied up with America's destiny. Before the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth, we were here. Before the pen of Jefferson etched the majestic words of the Declaration of Independence across the pages of history, we were here. For more than 2 centuries, our forebears labored in this country without wages. They made cotton king. They built the homes of their masters while suffering gross injustice and shameful humiliation. And yet, out of a bottomless vitality, they continued to thrive and develop. If the inexpressible cruelties of slavery could not stop us, the opposition we now face will surely fail. We will win our freedom, because the sacred heritage of our nation and the eternal will of God are embodied in our echoing demands. And what are the echoing demands today? That people be treated equally by a well-trained, competent, professional police force. That housing be open and available to all regardless of skin color. That jobs pay equally regardless of gender, race, any other identifying condition. That's what we're talking about if we're Christians. It's the KOG, the kingdom of God, where everyone is valued, where the dignity of every person is paramount, because we are all recognizing in each other the God spark. And we're all children of the light. We're all children of God. These 3 posts have been devoted to this topic because I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to say, and I can never say it as well as he did. I hope that if you are a person of color listening to this, you sense my deep reverence and respect for this man on all counts. Well, everybody's human, so I don't want to lift him up as being perfect, okay? And neither am I. I remember when he was shot and killed. It's one of the few times I saw my mother cry. And when I asked her why, she said not only because of the loss of the man and his brilliance and his faithfulness, but because of the loss of innocence for our country. You know, we're crying the same tears now, aren't we? And it's time. It's time to move beyond the tears, and it's time to stand in solidarity with each other and change the damn world. Excuse my language. I'm Deb Swift. I'm pastor of South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York, and a proud graduate of Colgate Rochester Crozier Divinity School. Legacy of Dr. King. It runs through my bones. It's in my DNA. Every graduate of CRCDS feels this way. It's time. It's time for all of us to get a move on. Keep praying. I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me in a prayerful pause. Check us out on YouTube, South Church Rochester, There's something every weekday as part of Prayerful Pause, and then worship services at other times. Okay? All right. Keep the faith, find the faith, adopt the faith, build your own faith, whatever it is. There's something greater than us out there. We need to be aligned with it. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time. God bless. Bye for now.